welcome to Caesars.
Hi.
Hello.
Checking in?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a reservation under Dr. Price.
Okay, let me look that up for you.
Dr. Price? Stu, you're a dentist. Hey, don't try and get fancy.
From what we've heard, Zach Galifianakis has a wild plan for Hangover 4 that could actually save the franchise. So let's dive into everything we know about Hangover 4 and explore some harsh truths about the trilogy that might actually help make the next movie even better. Let's get into it. The Hangover franchise seems to be on pause with no new movie in sight, but Zach Galifianakis might have a wild plan for Hangover 4 that could revive it. The original Hangover, released in 2009, was a massive hit. It wasn't entirely original with its plot about friends retracing their steps after a wild night, but it was hilarious and had a cast with great chemistry. Despite not being groundbreaking, The Hangover had a huge impact on comedy. The sequel even became the highest-grossing comedy of all time, and together with The Hangover Part 3, the films have earned over $1.4 billion. Though the franchise seemed destined for numerous sequels after such success, the follow-ups have seen diminishing returns. Even though they were box office hits, they faced criticism for reusing plot lines and racial stereotypes. Now, Galifianakis' idea for Hangover 4 could be just what the franchise needs to make a comeback. Bradley Cooper recently shared his thoughts on the possibility of The Hangover 4, and his comments might be exciting for fans eager for another sequel. Cooper, who played Phil Wenneck in all three movies, mentioned that he would probably do Hangover 4 in an instant. He praised his co-stars and director, saying, "I love Todd Phillips, I love Zach Galifianakis, and I love Ed Helms so much." However, while Cooper's enthusiasm is clear, he also expressed some doubt about whether director Todd Phillips would come back for another installment. On the flip side, Zach Galifianakis has some wild ideas for Hangover 4 that might just save the franchise. According to him, the next film could be animated, which is a major departure from the previous installments. Galifianakis suggested making it a family-friendly Pixar-style movie, which might seem out of left field, but could bring a fresh twist to the series. In an interview with Extra TV, he mentioned that he had been working on the Hangover 4 screenplay himself. While it's likely a joke, given his comedic style, he claimed that when he sent the script to the other cast members, they responded by sending him videos of them burning it. Despite this, it's possible that he's been jotting down some creative ideas for the next movie, even if he wasn't involved in writing the original scripts. An animated Hangover 4 could be exactly what the franchise needs to come back strong. Unlike the previous movies, which faced criticism for either being too similar or straying too far from the original formula, an animated version wouldn't have the same limitations. The setting could be anything and anywhere, freeing it from the constraints of live-action production. Imagine the guys finding themselves in fantastical or exotic locales, something the animated format would handle perfectly. While an animated Hangover 4 might seem like a drastic shift from the franchise's roots, it could bring a fresh perspective and new life to the series. The only challenge could be making it family-friendly, as Galifianakis suggested, given that the very concept of being hungover is inherently mature. However, with successful mature animated comedies, like Sausage Party proving that R-rated animated films can thrive, an animated Hangover 4, or even a reboot, could offer a unique and potentially successful revival of the franchise. That said, we can't ignore that the rise of adult animation could make Hangover 4 a real hit. With shows like BoJack Horseman and Big Mouth proving there's a strong market for R-rated animated content, the genre is clearly thriving. BoJack Horseman offers deep, mature themes, while Big Mouth dives into gross-out humor, both of which align well with the kind of humor found in the Hangover series. Animated comedies for adults aren't new either. Raunchy films like Fritz the Cat from the 1970s and Heavy Metal have paved the way. More recently, Sausage Party earned $140 million worldwide on a $19 million budget, showing there's a solid audience for this type of content. Given the success of The Hangover and how other franchises like The Expendables have made comebacks after long breaks, it's not out of the question for Hangover 4 to come back strong. The original cast, while aging, might find it easier to return in animated form. With adult animation proving its staying power across various genres, from superhero comics like Harley Quinn to fantasy series like Arcane, Galifianakis' animated Hangover 4 idea might be onto something. And if you ask me, The Hangover 3 felt pretty conclusive, with the Wolfpack members settling into their comfy lives. But Hangover 4 could definitely come up with a funny reason to bring the crew back together. Even though the sequels had their share of criticism for being repetitive, a final adventure could be a great way to wrap things up. Whether it takes the gang back to Las Vegas or mixes their wild antics with their new settled lives, it could be a hilarious return to form. You might not realize it, but Todd Phillips really needed the Hangover trilogy. Before he became widely known for directing the Oscar-winning Joker, he was mainly seen as a comedy director, and not a particularly promising one at that. Back in 2009, Phillips was struggling. His pricey flop Starsky and Hutch and a clash with Sacha Baron Cohen during Borat had left him on shaky ground in Hollywood. The success of The Hangover was crucial for him, and thankfully the trilogy came through big time. On WTF with Marc Maron, Zach Galifianakis revealed that he now wishes he'd done only the original Hangover and skipped the sequels. He admitted that making the movies was a blast, but also noted that sometimes it's best to leave things as they are. Critics seem to agree, as neither The Hangover Part 2 or Part 3 managed to capture the original film's charm. Even though Galifianakis has a funny idea for The Hangover 4, it's clear he might have been right about wrapping up the franchise sooner rather than later. The Hangover didn't kick off a new era of comedy, it actually marked the end of one. By 2009, the frat bro comedy trend was already on the decline, with flops like Miss March and I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell showing cracks in the genre. Even though The Hangover was a massive hit, it turned out to be the last major mainstream bro comedy for a while, with only a few exceptions like Neighbors and Tag. Instead of starting a trend, The Hangover inadvertently closed out an era, even as films like Bridesmaids and Bachelorette managed to freshen up the formula. If they do decide to go ahead with The Hangover 4, they need to ensure it sets the stage for a new era of comedy, whether that's through animation or some other innovative approach. We're looking for a story that's not just a rehash or a cliché plotline. What we really want is something fresh and original. If they go the animated route, they should make it count and bring something new to the table. They've got a real opportunity here to breathe new life into the franchise. Whether they opt for animation or another novel twist, it's crucial that they break away from the repetitive formula of the past. We're all for seeing the gang back together, but it should be in a way that surprises and delights. Imagine a Hangover movie that pushes boundaries and explores fresh comedic territory. If they get it right, it could set a new standard for how comedies are made and enjoyed. So, here's hoping that The Hangover 4 brings something truly innovative and memorable to the screen. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. What are your thoughts on the possibility of The Hangover 4? Do you think an animated version or a fresh approach could revitalize the franchise? Drop your suggestions and opinions in the comments below.